Hey, so I've had a few people notice that I use the A word, anorexia word, a lot, and that's because I had anorexia myself. It's just kind of like my own experience, and I try and talk about my own experience as much as possible, so that to not confuse people. But pretty much, whenever I say anorexia, you can insert whatever restrictive eating disorder. It's all the same thing. Like bulimia is, well, for most of us, okay, so most people start off with straight off restriction if you have anorexia, but you can't sustain that. That's unsustainable. So usually after a year or so, people move into bulimia, or they move into what I did, which was compulsive exercise, which is another form of purging. It's just like all of these things are just our brain trying to work out. Like, you got on one side the desire to eat a ton of food because your body's like, I'm in malnutrition, you idiot, I'm starving. And on the other side, you've got the very, very strong fear of that anorexia response, that genetic response to not eat, because you've got this huge fear of it. And so your brain's just trying to work out what the heck to do. Your body's screaming, eat. Some part of your brain is screaming, don't eat. And so, there's that biological urge to binge, which is totally appropriate if you're in malnutrition. It's very smart of your body to work out that that's a good solution. And so most of us start binging at some point. And then we counter that by purging of some way. So it could be bulimia, typical purging, vomiting. It could be exercise, urges, compulsions. It's all the same thing, right? It's all trying to suppress your natural body weight. It's all trying to find out how you can eat and satisfy that desire to eat without actually gaining weight. That's kind of what your brain's trying to work out how to do. And a lot of even the small behaviors that people do, like I've talked about spitting and chewing before, it's the same thing. Your brain's like, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm scared of eating. I'm not going to do that. What do? I know. I'll put the food in my mouth and spit it out. Genius. And it turns into behavior, and it's tiresome. So any video when I talk about anorexia, I'm talking about restrictive eating disorder. If you are suppressing your natural body weight via restricting food or some other activity that does the same thing, you have a restrictive eating disorder. It's all the same thing, okay? So none of that when she talks about eating without restriction, she's not talking to me because my classification isn't anorexia, it's bulimia or whatever. Yes, I am talking to you. If you're restricting food or if you are suppressing your natural body weight via any other activity, you have a restrictive eating disorder. And you will get out of that restrictive eating disorder, in my opinion, by not restricting anymore.